G'day, Mercenary Thorrn here, and in today's training video we're going to look into the shields and power systems, showing you how to get a little extra performance out of your ship while hopefully avoiding getting a wing blown off. Now this is the type of stuff that makes engineers drool. But just so you know, your ship will work fine if you ignore this area. It's just for those that want to get every little edge over their opponent. First I'll go through the HUD in relation to shields, and I'll show you what control we have over them. Then I'll explain how they actually work towards keeping our ship in one piece. After, I'll go over the HUD in relation to power systems, and I'll show you what controls we have right now to manipulate them. And then I'll dive into how the power systems actually function, as well as how they relate to your shields and other ship systems. I'll give some basic advice for all the different trainer ships, and finally, I'll talk about how to put all this knowledge to use, and maybe tip the balance between life or death in a close fight. Last as always, this game is in early development. In fact, on the last 10 for the chairman, it was mentioned the next patch should be bringing balancing to this area. So check here and down in the description for an updated video, and let's get to it. Now, let's get started with the shields. The first bit of information on the HUD is found here. You will see the shields of your ship, represented by the different rectangles. Different ships have different shield layouts, from 1 on the Aurora to 4 on the Hornet. The strength of each shield is shown by the size of the rectangle, disappearing entirely when the shield is down, and growing in size with relative strength. Next you can access the shield view on the HUD with F4. Again you can see your shield power here, just at a different angle. Below you will see all shield sections listed, with the circle filling as the shield power changes between 0% and 100%. The middle number is the shield power percentage. However, it is bugged right now and only updates when you switch to the power HUD. And this arrow shows the shield section's priority compared to the other sections. Now with ships that have more than one shield section, you can divert power between them, allowing you to strengthen one section while weakening others. This can be done on any HUD menu by holding down the right control key and heading to the number pad. 8 diverts power to the front, 2 the back, 4 the left, and 6 the right. Finally 5 evens the shield distribution. Now the function of the shield is simple, to stop hostile fire reaching the hull of your ship and doing damage. First, if you are flying a ship like the Aurora with only one shield displayed, that does not mean you only are protected at the front. It means the one section protects your entire ship from all angles. But it does however leave you with less options if that one shield fails. For ships with multiple shield sections, each one protects that respective side from fire, with the Hornet's shield divided into 4 sections and the 300i into 2. If a side fails, this gives you the option of redirecting power from other sections to the one that failed, or simply turning your ship so a side with an active shield faces incoming fire. Also worth noting is different weapons act differently on shields, with ballistic weapons able to achieve a level of penetration depending on shield strength, and energy weapons needing to drop it fully first to hit the hull. That's the shield done, now onto what powers them and the rest of the ship. First you can access the power menu using the F3 key. The triangle here shows your ship's power distribution priority to its 3 power groups. Below your 3 groups are listed, with each component in each group shown next to it. Just quickly for now, it is set to 1 as weapons, 2 as shields, and 3 as avionics. These are not currently customizable, but will be in the future. Under each component is a red dot, with its position showing the power the component is receiving, with 0% here and 100% here. Now let's manipulate our power a little, though the current method is described as using a broken interface, so it is a little tricky. It is all done using the keypad on the keyboard. First, to start any command, I quickly tap the following to reset any selection. It can sometimes get out of sync otherwise. First, select any other menu and back to F3. Then on the keypad, tap 9, 7, and that's the basic start done. Now tap 2 twice and press 5 to select the power triangle. From here you can move your power priority around the triangle between the 3 groups using the 8, 4, 6, and 2 keys. It updates instantly, so no need to save. Reset the selection again with F1, F3, 9 and 7, and tap 2 3 times. Using 2 and 8 you can now cycle between the different power groups. Tap 5 to select a group. Now use 4 and 6 to cycle between the components. Tapping 5 to toggle power on and off to each one. That is currently all the controls I know about. Just quickly though, it is a great idea to use a macro, whether that be from a keyboard, joystick, or a program like Voice Attack. I recommend you start every macro the following way. Select the power triangle with F1, F3, 9, 7, 2, 2, 5 with a slight delay between presses. Now press 2 31 times. This will move the position to the very bottom of the triangle regardless of where it started. Now press 8 16 times and you are back at your balanced power setting. If all you wanted is a command to balance your power, you're already done. Otherwise, add in the extra movements to reach the power distribution you wanted, and it will go to the same spot every time. Okay, it's about time I explain how the ship's power system actually works. First, before any customizing comes into effect, is the ship's power plant, and it can output a set amount of power. The power then reaches your triangle for distribution. As an example, let's say the power plant outputs 9 units of power, though keep in mind this is a made up number and just to show how the system works. With a balanced power setting, it'll send 3 units of power to each group. As you adjust the power setting, the distribution will change, with perhaps 5 units heading to group 1 here, and all 9 units heading when you reach the full priority. Of course, this is assuming the group can use all the power. If for example we are talking about the weapon systems, each laser can only charge at a certain rate. If all these dots show 100%, then the laser can't take any more power. In this case, the remaining power is distributed between the other 2 groups. Then if the lasers are fully charged, they can't use any more power. At this point, all 9 units will split between the remaining 2 groups, till you fire a laser, and they need to recharge again. Of course, that is the extreme case. As you move between the different groups, the distribution priority will change. As groups no longer need power, the others will receive more. Now on to how this affects your actual systems. For shields, power is required just to maintain them. If your shield loses that power, the shield will instantly drop to a comparable amount. Though in the future the drop rate is meant to be slower, with capacitors added, but the drop will still be there. For weapons, power is needed not only to charge your energy based weapons, but also to fire your projectile ones, and aim your gimbaled weapons. If you don't leave enough power, you may find yourself unable to aim or fire at all. And for avionics, if you leave no power, you will have no ability to accelerate or decelerate, and only a very small ability to turn. Again, these are the extremes, with many points in between. It's overall a rather complex system, but also very clever. Depending on your ship and ship components, you will need to try different settings, watching how the power supplied affects your ship's performance. Now, the trainer ships are not as intended right now, but they do a good job of being examples. First, the 300i. This ship is confirmed to have an oversized power plant. No matter what you do, all components will read 100% power all the time. This is because the amount of power the power plant generates can provide all components with maximum power and then some. So the triangle has no effect at all. This is what would happen if you put an oversized power plant on a ship with everything else undersized. Then the Hornet. This ship is confirmed to have an undersized power plant, with even the default loadout straining it. With the triangle left at the default setting, the shield drops dramatically on use of energy weapons. It is a little better as you increase the shield priority, but go too far and you can't move or fire your weapons at all. I highly recommend the use of ballistic weapons till it gets a more powerful power plant due to their lower power draw, as well as slightly favouring shields to stop even the manoeuvring thrusters taking power the shields need. And the Aurora, which is the only one that seems to have a power plant around what you'd expect. With the default loadout and balanced power settings, everything seems to function fine, with only the slightest dip in shields. But if you then stick 2 heavy power drawing weapons like the Omnisky 6s, even at the default power setting you can see the power plant really struggling to keep up. It becomes pretty clear you really need to balance the size of your components with the size of your power plant. Hopefully by this point you understand how the power and shield system work, and the ways you can adjust and use them. You need to play around with the settings depending on your ship and its loadout, but I'm going to give a few examples of power settings that might come in handy. Full offense. This is my do or die power setting, where my target's about to escape and I want to quickly finish him off. All power is diverted to engines and weapons at the cost of shields. It gives you a few extra shots and full speed, but leaves you very vulnerable to a counterattack. But if your target is dead, he can hardly fire back, right? Withdrawal. Sometimes you just need to get out of there, and if your focus is on escape, your only concern is bound to be engines and shields. This will cut power to your weapons, leaving them with reduced ability to turn or recharge, but you can always swap back after you make it to safety. I even throw in some rear shield boosting at the same time. Charging. Maybe you really don't care about maneuvering right now. Swap all power to weapons and shields for when you don't want your engines taking any of that precious power. I don't recommend the extreme setting in this case though. Leave just enough for slow but basic maneuvering. And because you're likely going into a head-on attack, get that front shield reinforced. And then you might just like to prioritize durability a little by moving towards shields. Or maybe you're the kind that thinks the best defense is a good offense, so boost weapons a little. or maybe even boost engines, using the theory it's better not to be where the enemy is shooting rather than rely on shields. Best advice is to try many settings and see what suits your ship and playstyle at any particular moment. And I hope that was a help. If you've got your own tips and tricks related to this area, share them down below and I'll try and get them in the next video. Otherwise hit that subscribe button, and good hunting.